Welcome everybody to our one and only primary forum. Just some things early on. If you're a candidate, we've put the list out of the order. If you see your race is next, please come right up over here. The less time we have bringing people on, putting people off the stage, bringing them on, the more we'll have for questions. You can see it's very tight. I've stressed about this a lot, and each race does not get the justice it deserves, but we're able to get all the races in. And I think that was, we thought that was more important. For our questioners, as we talked about before, if you could, these are not essay, hopefully not essay questions tonight, something succinct that they can answer pretty quickly. And for all candidates, the quicker your answer, the more questions we can get. And I kind of think on this particular instance, it's better to have more questions than long, lengthy answers. We're not going to do opening statements. We're going to get right into questions. We're going to try a maximum of 90 seconds for your answer. And Sheldon over here will give me a raise. It's nice to keep it less than that. That we'll try to run through two sets of questions, and then a very quick closing statement. Because if we haven't hit it all, then we're never going to. So a minute, but 30 seconds would be better, because everybody knows who you are. Joe, use the mic. I'm going to run through. You'll each ask one question, and then we'll go through again.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the way this works, like tonight, Rick will start on the first panel, and then after that, we'll have the citizen, and then the radio, and then the weekly, and we'll just sort of mix it up. And if I lose track, yell at me. I expect to disappoint a lot of people tonight. So.
The same question to both candidates?
You can. Mandy asked, can she ask the same question to both panels? I'd say yes, but make them quick questions. Again, and we'll get a rhythm after we do this, but I mean, we're budgeted for 3 hours, and that's a lot, with a little 15-minute intermission. We've never quite done as many, we've never had as many races in the primary as this, so let's just get right to it. Let's get right to the first question. For the candidates, introduce yourselves, please. Just introduce yourselves.
My name's Phil Goodman. I'm a commissioner of District 2 Mosquito Control Board and chairman of the board.
Okay. Elk.
My name is Alex Osborne, and I'm running for seat 2, mosquito control.
Let's have the very first question. Well, in the panel, would you guys introduce yourselves?
All right. My first question is...
No, introduce yourself quick, Rick, and then we'll get to the
okay.
question. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear.
I'm Richard Fowler. I've been with the state attorney's office for about a dozen years. I've been on the bench for a dozen years and in private practice about 30 years. I've sat in every seat there is in the courtroom, and I'm told that I'm here for the judges, but nonetheless, I'm here for Phil.
Let's wrap it up. Thank you, Rick.
Well,
I
intended
I'm
to.
going to practice cutting people off with you, Rick, so it's going to be a long, Rick and I have known each other a long time. I expect it's going to be a long night. John, please introduce yourself.
I'm John Carroll, editor of the Key West Citizen. Joe Moore, US 1 Radio.
Hi, everybody. Mandy Miles, editor of the Keys Weekly in Key West.
All right, Rick, first question, please.
Okay. Phil, it's been suggested that GMO has increased the number of mosquitoes in the Upper Keys. True or false?
False. Very false.
Why is that?
Well, you know, the GMO mosquito was for the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is only about 3% of the population in the Florida Keys. Has nothing to do with the salt marsh mosquito. The salt marsh mosquito is the one that's, 85% of the total mosquito population in the Keys, and that's the one that we had the problems with last year. The main reason last year we had problems, and we were really low on those numbers this year, is because a lot of the west winds blowing in from the Everglades. This really brought a lot of the salt marsh mosquitoes in last year, and the GMO mosquito, the Aedes aegypti, does not mate with any other mosquito, so it's not possible for that to happen. That's been proven over and over. A lot of research papers determine that.
Thank you, Phil. Next question, John.
Alex, this question is for you. Please tell us a little bit about you. We know Phil Goodman is an old school mosquito guy. What is your experience in mosquito control, and why are you running for this position?
I have a personal stake in wanting to be on the mosquito control. My wife and children are susceptible to mosquito bites. They're allergic to them. Quite frankly, it's the reason I decided to run. You know, I was at home one day and the kids came in crying. They had mosquito bites on their eyes and their legs. So I, took the initiative to start trying to get my yard cleaned up. I got rid of the saucers that held water, reduced their ability to breed, and then started trying different traps with some limited success, and made me interested in wanting to join.
Joe.
All right, this question is for Phil. You guys tell us all the time on the radio about how you have to keep changing the chemical mixture because the mosquitoes are getting to the point to where it doesn't hurt them anymore. What is the line, where is the line, and how is it maintained between stronger and stronger chemicals and then harm to our environment?
Mosquito control is always a balance. We're balancing public health issues versus quality of life versus environmental protection. And, the chemicals that we use, all of them are approved by the EPA, by the State Department of Agriculture to be non-hazardous for people. A lot of the restrictions, or all the restrictions we have on chemical use, is for environmental protection for endangered species and not for people. So, we have 3 different products that we can use by truck, and we interchange them so that the mosquito does not become resistant to them or as quickly. So it's a balance, to control the mosquitoes with the products we use are very effective. The only one that's not effective is with the Aedes aegypti mosquito. This is the one that's becoming resistant to these chemicals, and why we're looking for new technologies.
Thank you, Phil. Mandy.
Okay, for Alex, hi. You said that you explained why you were interested in running, but what do you want to focus on first, and what is your main primary concern about what possibly might need to change at the Mosquito Control Commission?
My primary concern is genetically modified mosquitoes. I don't think we need to use them. Thank you. We have other technology that the mosquito control has, researched and developed that Wolbachia-infected mosquitoes, for instance. It's a bacteria, it's naturally occurring, poses no threat to human beings. It's an option that we need to prioritize over, genetically modified organisms.
Can I respond to that?
No.
Okay.
In the next, maybe you get another question. Rick.
I'd have let you respond, Phil.
That's fine.
Well, I tell you what, this question is for Alex. How is a genetically altered mosquito different from a genetically altered fly foisted on us by the federal government in attacking the screwworm?
In the studies that I've read, the tests on the genetically modified mosquitoes, Oxitec, which has now become Flitter, up to 15% of the females that are intended to die, in the mating process have lived. They become resistant to tetracycline because of the food that they're eating. Mass-produced food for cats and dogs has a high level of tetracycline in it. So these mosquitoes are feeding on that, and then they're able to survive, and they become resistant to the tetracycline that they're being treated with. I don't know how that differs from the flies, but obviously these ones are living when they're not supposed to. That's terrifying. They're able to spread this genetic modification into the wild, which I don't think is a good idea.
So, in other words, you don't have
Use the mic, Rick.
an answer to I'm sorry. You don't have an answer to the fly question?
Mosquito control focuses on mosquitoes, and that's what I'm focused on.
Thank you.
John.
Phil, there's been national news recently that the West Nile virus has started early this year in the United States. Have there been any cases in Florida and specifically in the Keys?
We had one case in the Florida Keys in 2001. It's only one. You know, the West Nile virus is transmitted by a bird. It's a bird disease that's given to the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes give it to people. We have had several cases in Florida, not any this year. Last year, there were probably half a dozen cases. There's a lot of sentinel chicken stations all throughout the northern part of Florida looking for this, because this is a disease that really is more prevalent in the northern and central part of Florida rather than South Florida because of the migration pattern of the birds. We don't really have that here. So, you know, our main disease is the Aedes aegypti and the mosquitoes that are the diseases that it carries, which is yellow fever, dengue fever, chikungunya, Zika.
Thank you, Phil. Joe.
Alex, you were talking about the genetically modified mosquitoes, and I have to look back at the last 2 years without any mosquito-borne illness in the Florida Keys. That says something's working. Whether it's that or not, I'm not sure. But what do you see as the harm from the GMO mosquitoes?
Interesting that you bring up the last 2 years. We haven't released genetically modified mosquitoes over the last 2 years. We had our test in 2023, I believe was the last release. We're here in 2026, and we're considering using them going forward. That's what I'm against. You know, the mosquito control does an excellent job. We have an excellent staff where they've really done a great job cleaning up, you know, the mosquito control. It's doing well. We need to make some changes going forward, I believe. We're heavily dependent on pesticides. The pesticides kill bees, dragonflies. You know, these are natural predators and pollinators that are important to us. I really think we need to think about the bees.
Okay, Mandy, you're going to be the last question. That's 2 runs, and then you get a minute closing statement each. And so, Mandy,
Okay,
question.
for Phil. Phil, if property taxes can no longer be used to fund the Mosquito Control Commission, what source of funding is available to fund continued mosquito control activity? And are you concerned with the potential changes to the state property tax laws?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. We've done a lot of lobbying in Tallahassee for this. We tried very hard to get the mosquito control throughout the state to be declared a real critical part of the infrastructure here, but it missed the legislation. So if this passes, mosquito control all across the state will lose about 20% of its funding the first year, probably 30 to 40% the second year. And in some areas, you know, we're being a special taxing district. We won't suffer as bad. We'll lose 30, 40, 50% of our funding. Some of the county-run operations, depending on the county, could lose everything. So it's very critical for us because, you know, we spend about $20 million a year here in the Florida Keys for mosquito control. And when you look at all it brings in, this is a really good return on investment, also keeping our community safe. If we spend less and do less than we can do, we run a big risk of really increasing the cost astronomical if we introduce mosquito-borne diseases.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. All right, closing statements. Just incumbents first this time. Phil, go ahead.
I'm Phil Goodman. I'm the Commissioner of District 2 and Chairman of the Mosquito Control Board. Also, for the last 5 years, I've served on the state board for Florida Mosquito Control. And I'm running on my record for re-election, on my record of what we've accomplished, and we've accomplished a lot. Mosquito control is a very complex science, and it's, there's many variables there that are very difficult to control. And as a result, we always look for a balance between public health, quality of life, environmental protection, and staying within our budget. And these things are constantly changing, so I think background experience is very important to make these quick decisions. I think the main question you have to ask yourself is which is the two of us is most qualified to allow mosquito control to continually to grow over the next 4 years and to keep this community safe. I'm Phil Goodman, running for re-election for Mosquito Control District 2.
Thank you, Phil. Alex, 1 minute.
I'll keep this quick so we can move on. My name is Alex Osborne, and I hate mosquitoes. I believe genetically modified organisms present unacceptable risks, especially when other options are available. I am your GMO protector, and I want to protect every one of you. So please vote for me August 18th. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you both. Next up is our county judge candidates. There's no incumbent here. And
This one's all on Rick Fowler. Rick's asking all the questions of the judges.
Rick, we're counting on you to make, historically, the
You have to
judges,
carry us, Rick, on this
the
one.
judges' races have been somewhat subdued because they're legally obligated to not trash each other, so, yeah, I don't think so. So Rick, we want you to spice things up for us. Although, John, you'll be the first person to ask this time. That's how we'll sort through. All right. Thank you, Kim. Kim is our Vanna tonight. Kim Highsmith. All right, let's just get right to it. Thank you all. John. Oh, I apologize. Introduce yourselves, guys.
I'm Kevin McCarthy, running for County Court Group 2 seat.
I'm David Van Loon, running for the same seat. And we do get along, despite what people say.
Good. Well, we'll see if that's the case after
now.
tonight. Yeah. John, go ahead.
So on paper, you guys look pretty much the same as you do in person. Kevin, you have more public defense experience in the court system. David, you have more experience in private practice. If you could both just kind of tell us what separates you from your opponent and why voters should vote for you.
Okay, let's do it. Kevin first, a minute, and then David a minute. It's sort of like
That's fine.
it'll work here.
My courtroom experience. I could step into a courtroom right now, take this role, and hit the ground running. I have run courtrooms before. I've run dockets before. After Hurricane Irma, I was part of the team that came back and had a special court day in the jail. It was a joke. It was on Channel 7 News. There's a couple lawyers who were here who were in court, but in fishing shirts and jeans. We helped get that back up and running. People don't realize our jail was evacuated. We had people in Palm Beach County that we had to bring back that had court cases that we didn't know what to do with. I helped set that up. I've trained attorneys. This is a county court seat. The reality is, at least in the criminal world, a lot of times this is where you start, is in county court. I've trained those attorneys. I've worked with new attorneys on both sides. It's my courtroom experience that sets it apart. I also have circuit courtroom experience up through and including capital homicides. If needed, I could be specially assigned as the county court attorney, or judge, excuse me, to handle circuit court cases, which is currently the case. There was an administrative order about 2 weeks ago where this exact seat, Judge Wilson, was specially assigned to circuit court. My last 2 homicide trials, one of them was in front of Judge Wilson, who is a county court judge specially assigned to circuit court. So it's my experience, and I do have a background in civil to handle all
Thanks,
of that.
Kevin.
Sorry.
No problem. It's all right. David.
Thank you. So county court position is essentially broken down into 2 main categories, criminal and civil. Out of that, there's some subcategories. On the criminal side, there would be standard misdemeanors, DUIs, and criminal traffic are the 3 main categories. On the civil side, there is 4 main categories. There is small claims court, there is civil traffic, there's landlord-tenant, and then there's also county court position, or county, I guess if you want to call it litigation. I have 22 years of experience in 95% of those matters. So for those of you who are a little older and want to use a chalkboard, or some of us are maybe younger, have a whiteboard, if you put those categories in a list, I check off every single one of those categories that I've been in trial experience with, except the only one, and I'll be honest, of course, the only one I have not done is a DUI defense, but all other categories I have extensive litigation in for 22 years. So I don't want to say that as, well, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, David.
All right, David.
Joe.
What improvements need to be made in the Monroe County court system?
Was that for me? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question? I apologize.
What improvements need to be made in the Monroe County court system?
Well, I don't think I'm in a position to say what can be made as far as improvements go. I do believe that the one good thing out of COVID that took place was Zoom hearings. So we have shifted to non-evidentiary hearings in front of Zoom, and then there's other matters that take place in front of Zoom. But my ideas, similar or in county court, is small claims is a heavy trial docket, a couple times a month. I have ideas as far as how to split that up to make it more efficient. But I think the court system on its own runs pretty efficiently right now. The county court position is the busiest one, so it's going to be busy no matter what. But I don't necessarily think we need necessarily improvements. I think we just need to do what we have just more effectively.
Mandy?
Either one of them or both?
You can do whatever you want, within reason. Yep.
Okay, well, we'll go. Sorry. David just answered, so we'll go this way. You guys' race, the judges' races, are very different from other political races. They're generally much more civilized, less money involved. But what should voters consider when they're picking one of your names on the ballot? What kind of qualities, how does the judge on the bench with the gavel in the robe actually impact the people in front of you, whether it's traffic court, county court, or anything?
County court is the people's court. County court is where people will most times have their first experience in court. It's patience, because there will be pro se litigants that don't know what they're doing. And we have, the judges have rules, so we can't do certain things to help, but you have to be patient. Knowledge of the law is extremely important. We talk about numbers. The only number I'm concerned with is the one victim that has to come back and retestify because the trial got overturned at the 3rd District Court of Appeals. Or the one case that comes back on an issue. That's the number that concerns me, right? But yeah, those, the patience, the legal knowledge. I've argued and won motions here at just about every courtroom. I've been in front of every judge in the circuit, going back to Judge Tomey and Judge Miller. I think Judge Hamilton might be the only judge I've never appeared in front of for anything substantively. We have great judges. It's judges like that I have watched, that have mentored me and helped, move me through my career, that their qualities, the patience, the knowledge, that's the most important thing.
Thanks. But before we get to Rick, remember, for all the candidates, we're recording this, and while you want to, it's human nature to talk to these guys.
Oh, sorry.
No, but I'm going to say it throughout the evening, but look at the camera, and the camera's the little red light up there. We're recording it for posterity, and for John Padgett, who's texting me. Yeah, so. Rick.
Thank you. This question is for David. How much does it cost a night to put somebody up at the county jail?
How much does it cost a night to put up
Yeah.
in someone in county jail? I have no idea how to answer that. I don't think that's necessarily a judge answer. That would be something for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to answer, but not.
You don't claim any responsibility as an activist judge for that issue?
Well, I would never consider myself an activist judge. If I'm not a judge to begin with, but no, I don't. If there is a issue with first appearance and whether they're going to be retained on bond or have a hearing down the road for bond, that is not my decision as far as whether it's going to cost money to house that person. It's what the charge would be, what the guidelines say as far as bond, and what they release if they're able to be released. So whether it costs $10 or $100, that shouldn't be a judge's concern whether you're releasing them or not.
What is the average stay in the county jail?
I'm sorry?
What is the average stay in the county jail?
Average say or stay?
Stay, S-T-A-Y.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Well, moving on. John.
All right, this question is for both of you guys. It's an easy one. It's a softball. We're not supposed to ask softball questions, but I had to. Who is somebody in the judicial branch of the U.S. government, either living or deceased, that you respect, admire, and strive to emulate, and why?
Let's do David first, and then Kevin.
Okay, so that may seem like a softball question, but we cannot answer that question, or at least I will not answer that question, because by picking someone in the system, that's going to indicate to people whether it's your personal background or your party affiliation or something of that nature that would cause issues for us from the judicial Canon 7 or the judicial committee. So although it seems very easy to say, I like this person, I would style myself after them, you can't say that. So the fact of the matter is, I'm looking to get a county court position based upon my own background, my own experience, and how I would handle that bench, not because of someone else.
That is the longest no I've ever heard. Kevin. So,
I just didn't
I
want
haven't
to
answered
Kevin.
yet.
I didn't want to be rude and say no, so I was trying to say no in a nice
can you
manner.
either agree or disagree, Kevin, in 30 seconds or less?
I'm going to stand behind his answer. I agree with that. I can give you a really answer that will go nowhere, which would be Justice Scalia and Justice Ginsburg, because they were best friends and they knew what the law meant, but nothing about what they do. I think Dave is right. We can't really answer that question for that reason.
Okay, well, appreciate it. The audience learned something there. Joe,
Kevin, this is for you.
give them
and-
another question they can't answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting used to this,
Well,
though.
you may
I mean,
not
we
be,
constantly
you
have
may
to
not
step
be
in
able
and
to
go,
answer
we can't
this.
answer.
I don't know. This is about, if you could tell us about a challenging case you were involved in your career that really stands out and what you learned from it.
I've dealt with a lot. I've had a lot of very challenging cases. I've represented 2 people that were indicted and the state sought death. One received a death verdict, and Judge Jones gave death. The other person pled to a life sentence, which in the state of Florida, it's the same thing. There is no parole. You will go to prison and you die in prison, and it's who decides when you die. I've had challenging drug sale cases. One of my most positive drug sale cases, and this is going to sound crazy, my client was convicted. He went to prison. He came out recently. I saw him in Publix. He gave me a hug and said I saved his life because prison got him clean. I thought I'd lost that. On my records, that's a loss. But for him, it was a win. So, it's a fun career. It's a wild career.
Mandy, yeah.
Okay, this is a purely selfish question as a journalist. What, for both of you, and it's very easy, what is your position on cameras in courtrooms, in your courtroom?
So if the law allows it and the rules of the courtroom allow it, and it's not going to be a distraction to what is going on in the actual courtroom itself, I would have no objections to that. But again, there's rules and regulations that are previously spelled out for that. So again, as long as it fits into that and we want to make sure that everyone's represented the right way and it's not going to prejudice someone, then there should be no reason why a camera should not be allowed there.
I agree. And I've had, I think my last 2 trials, one was on YouTube and one was on Netflix was trying to film. So yeah, I agree. There are rules, and as long as it doesn't affect what's going on, that's fine.
Cool. Okay, last question, Rick.
Kevin, we've heard...
Use the mic, please.
We've heard from David that he wouldn't consider himself an activist judge. Are you an activist or a pacifist judge?
I don't think we can even answer that one.
Tell the truth.
I believe in the rule of law. Anybody that knows me knows that. Anybody that's seen my motion practice knows I'm not doing things to be wild. I'm following the law, and I'm doing what's in my client's best interest, even though people might not agree with sometimes what's in my client's best interest. Sometimes I don't agree with what's within my client's best interest. But as far as taking into account, I think roughly it's $125 if you're not sick a night at the county jail. If you are sick, it gets exponentially higher. And we have people, I've worked with the Sheriff's Department, I've worked with the State Attorney's Office, when we have people that get airlifted to the tune of millions of dollars in county money. And those are things you work with on a daily basis. I've spoken with the State Attorney's Office and the Sheriff's Office about how we could streamline some of those things. But as far as bond is concerned and those things, the law is the law. And that's where I fall.
Thanks. Let's go to closing statements. David, then Kevin, in about a minute or less.
Thank you very much. So like I said in the beginning, my name is David Van Loon. I'm here for the county court position. I have almost 22 years of experience. And as I stated earlier, there is probably about 9 subcategories, and there's even smaller categories in county court position. I have experience in all but one for 22 years. I've been a trial attorney for county court, circuit court, even federal court. So I have vast experience, despite, for some reason, people not believing that I'm a trial attorney. I have vast experience for 22 years. On top of that, which I forgot to mention earlier, is I've been a magistrate for about 10 years now for the Value Adjustment Board, as well as a traffic magistrate for about 1.5 years now. So I do deal with people on a one-on-one basis, and I've probably adjudicated over 3,000 cases so far. So I do have experience to, and what I believe on day one, to take the bench and move forward right away. So I would appreciate your vote on August 18th, and I thank everyone for their kind questions and being nice to us.
Thank you, David. Kevin.
I want to thank you guys for everyone coming out. Thank HomeTown, Todd, and the panel. My name is Kevin McCarthy. I am running for the County Court Group 2 judge seat. I have the experience to hit the ground running. I have run courtrooms up and down the Keys. I have trained these attorneys. I'm proudly endorsed by the Key West Firefighters Local Union, the Professional Firefighters of Monroe County, and the South Florida Police Benevolent Association. The men and women who keep this county safe believe I can keep this county safe on the bench. Thank you very much. Kevin McCarthy, August 18th. And the 19th can't come fast enough for my mom, dad, and kids and in-laws that are sitting in the back.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Can we get School District 1 up, coming up? While they're switching seats here, 2 things. We mentioned law enforcement. We have a sheriff's deputy here enjoying our festivities. Wave. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons go ahead, you can. One of the reasons we have a sheriff's deputy is something Kevin had mentioned. We're all going to see each other when this is over in Publix. So remember, we're all neighbors, and it's while they're sitting down, we're moving things along quickly. A couple years ago, this got very out of hand. I'm sure that's not going to happen tonight. But if it does, we're just going to stop the whole event, and I will point out who's misbehaving. We'll just wait until we can move along, and we'll just keep doing. Kim, don't behave or misbehave. So. All right, let's just get right to it. Let's see, we're on Joe Moore.
All right, we all know about
I did it again. Please introduce yourselves. Oh, and Darren, the birthday boy, introduce yourself, please.
Yes, I'm Darren Horan. I'm Tuesday morning's co-host with Joe Moore in the Morning Magazine, but more importantly, I'm your current vice chair of the Monroe County School Board, District 1.
Teresa Axford, former superintendent of schools, and Darren's opponent for school board District 1.
And it really is his birthday. So let's
Happy
move. Joe.
birthday.
and you'll be co-hosting with me next week
I
as well.
will.
All right, good. Just want to make sure we got that out there. We all know about the housing work that's going on in Key West for school teachers. You've been working a lot on that. Everybody on the school board has. But it's going to be a few years down the road before that happens. What can we do between now and then to retain our school teachers and to hire new ones?
Is that a question for me or Ms. Axford?
Both of you.
Okay. Ladies first.
So for a number of years now, we've been working with principals and running kind of a housing service where they actually hire teachers and then try to place them in housing in their neighborhoods. And so they kind of run an informal system in the school office and check with the parents and people that live in the community to see if there are any rentals available in the area. And so, you know, we have been really working informally for a number of years, Joe, to manage that problem. And I imagine that's what we're going to continue to do. And depending on what happens with the Navy and other groups, you know, housing may be released and made available that we can use until, you know, Trumbo, that 150 units are completed at Trumbo. So principals are, their jobs are really big, and one of them is trying to place teachers.
Derek.
So a lot of this is actually going to play into the property tax issue. There are many people who out there who have rentals that would be more willing to, rent them out for lower costs if their property taxes are reduced. Obviously, you're going to have a difference of opinion in that, and that's fine. But the reality is there are plenty of people out there that have multiple rental units that will find it in their heart to rent to teachers. In the interim, you can pay teachers so much, but the reality is they are severely overworked as well. So we're trying to sit there and wait for housing. What can we do to make them more accommodating while they're there? And that is utilize, technology to say, listen, your job is stressful. We understand it. Some of you are working until 10 o'clock at night. We can't find you housing, but at least you make your livelihood a little better by utilizing technology, making your day-to-day activities a little more at ease. But like I said, I know many people, including myself, who try to keep their rentals down. I have a house next to my mother who I have rented out to teachers in the past, just because they needed it. But there are others out there that are just like me that do it.
Okay, perfect timing. Mandy. I said perfect timing. Oh, yes.
I will look at the camera.
Look at the camera.
My
Both
apologies,
look at the
Mr. Paget.
Okay, there'll be the same question for both of them. Who goes?
You can do that.
Okay. Ms. Axford, same question for both, but how would you propose to balance AI incorporated into classroom education, but while also protecting academic integrity?
That's a great question, Mandy. So, we're right on the cusp of the involvement in with AI in schools. And when I was superintendent, I was constantly requesting the Superintendents Association to do more training on AI. So I went to a meeting last year, and 17,000 teachers in Dade County were trained on incorporating AI into the classroom. So I think teacher training is the first thing that we've got to do, but also we have to look at some really good school board policy that makes very clear, how AI is going to be used. And I think the training that teachers undergo will enable them to process and decide whether something is, because they're putting out bots and all kinds of things now that allow teachers to know whether the material is original or whether it was produced by AI. So I think there's much that's going to be said in the future on AI, but we've got to first start with intensive teacher training, and then we've got to move to writing really good policy, as things evolve.
Darren.
So ultimately, it's going to be the superintendent's job to tell us what he thinks is in the best interest of the teachers and of the schools. But if it's a policy issue, we'll have to really hammer that down. But from my personal standpoint, again, we only deal with policy, budget, and hiring a superintendent. But if you're asking me my opinion on this, my opinion is very simple. AI should be strictly limited to only the teachers. None of us survived on AI. We did just fine. I think most of us became major successes by having to learn, read, write without using computers. The more we can get our kids off of using online, the better we'll be in the future.
Judge Fowler.
Darren, how many pink slips will be handed out this year?
How many pink slips?
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that we've already started minimizing our administration staff. I do not know what the end result's going to be. Obviously, a lot of this is going to play on the TPS. Our budget is going to be, controlled by the amount of students we have, the butts and seats, as we call it. So I will tell you that the superintendent, Mr. Tierney, feels strongly that before we let go of a single teacher, we will cut administration first.
John.
Teresa, you have a lot of experience in education. What is your stance on organized prayer in school and religion in school?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question.
What is your position on religion in school and organized prayer in school?
So in public schools, we have to follow the law, and there are very clear laws written on those practices. And so that's what you have to do. I mean, I agree that following the law is what a school board member, of course, has got to support. But children can get together and hold prayer services before school. You know, they can gather in a certain place and conduct prayer services. And they can also get together at lunchtime. So during times where instruction is not being carried out, kids do have opportunities to get together as a club or as an organization and hold prayer services. And I believe that that's what we need to do.
Thank you, Teresa.
All right, we were talking a few moments ago about budgets and where you trim. And Superintendent Tierney has told us this year that they've trimmed from the top. They don't want to release teachers and admin. But what happens if we get down the road, the property tax issue comes along, we lose more students in the schools, and there has to be some more trimming? Where are you prepared to make cuts? And this is for Darren.
So are you talking about capital or basically just from teachers and all that kind of stuff? Because I will tell you right now that obviously the as I call the boots on the ground are the most important people we have, and that's the teachers. So if we're top heavy, we're gonna cut from the top before we cut from the bottom, because quite frankly, we can do with less administrators. We can always, you know, one person can pick up another's role, but teachers are the lifeblood of our school district. So I'm gonna reiterate the fact that if we're going to cut, it's going to be from the top down.
Mandy? So we're 514. Yes, I think we'll get it. We can go through it again. Okay. This is important.
Actually, this is good for both of you as well, since you've both been at the school district overlapping in different roles.
We'll do
Are there any?
Darren first. And then
Darren first, sorry, okay. Are there, if any, or are there any actions that the current school board has not yet undertaken that you think should be instituted? So your school board.
It's going to feed right into my wheelhouse. Yeah, the reality is we spend too much money on capital expenditures and not enough money on our kids. Listen, we all sit up here and we all talk about expanding CTE and trying to get limited tests, and we all want that. We all want what's best for our kids, but the reality is none of them are going to do well at anything unless they're properly fed. I mean, none of us can sit there and, I mean, I have a wife, she's, you know, we constantly make sure each of us are fed because we get angry in the process. So it's kind of hard to think on an empty stomach. So if there's one thing the school district needs to take up, it's making sure our kids are properly fed and properly fed for free.
Teresa, same thing. Is there something under your tenure as superintendent that the board has not yet undertaken that you think should be instituted?
Well, the strategic plan was up in 2025, so we had a strategic plan that was in place from 2022 to 2025, and so there's a lapse, but that strategic plan allowed us to interface with the community and find out what everybody wanted to happen in schools, and it generated incredible results, 29% increase in teacher pay, a longevity recognition for teachers who'd been here for a long time, which kind of said to them, hey, it's a pat on the back, I've been here and I'm going to get more money. We increased our field trips, we increased our interface with the arts, and brought kids here to the Tennessee Williams Fine Arts Center many times to see productions, and these were all things that parents told us that they wanted us to do. So I think the guidance that a strategic plan avails is really important to have a successful school district.
Thank you, Teresa. Rick?
This question is for Darren. Actually, it's for both of you. How do you feel about removing books from the school libraries?
Teresa first, then Darren.
So between 2020 and 2025, we didn't remove any books from the library shelves in our Monroe County schools, because our media specialists were trained, and first, we have a rigorous process for the selection of books. So when a book winds up on the shelf here, it's a Caldecott winner, or it's a National Book Award winner, or it's a classic. So we actually had a person who was very involved with the Moms for Liberty. She came to a board meeting in '23 and said she had actually combed the shelves looking for material that was offensive, and she did not find any on our shelves. So I think as long as media specialists are really well trained, and as long as we're following policy that was really clearly defined by the state, I don't think it's an issue. We also have a process if a parent dislikes a book, they can come to the school and a committee reviews the book, and they participate in numerous conversations. And so having that process in place is really very helpful as well.
Thanks.
Darren?
So short answer is she's absolutely correct. We haven't had to remove a book at all. The reality is that we do an excellent job of making sure the books that we have are age appropriate. The kids are directed where they need to go. And quite frankly, you know, that's a parent's choice of what they want their kid to read. I mean, if the kid wants to read something and it's not in our school district, they can go to the public library and get it. So it's your choice what you want your child to read, not ours.
John, last question.
Speaking of books, this question is for both candidates. Name a book that you've read in your life that has influenced and impacted your life and why it has.
And you can answer this.
Okay. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Great book.
And the reason it influenced my life is when I became an attorney, my father slapped it on my desk and said, if you want to get people to listen to you, you got to get them to like you first.
Teresa.
I just read Let Them by Mel Robbins, I think her name is, and I'm always trying to control what's happening. And she says you've got to release and let people do what they need to do and just support them in their choices. So I thought it was a really good book.
All right. Thank you, Teresa. All right, do closing statements. We're doing incumbents first. Darren.
So yes,
Minute or-
Darren
minute or
Horan.
less.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Todd.
Go ahead.
So Darren Horan, birthday boy, running for re-election for my last 4 years. It has been my absolute honor to serve these 4 years. As many of you might have read in my Keys Weekly article, I didn't take this because it was a calling. I took it because it was a dare, and it's the greatest challenge I've ever accepted. It has been an absolute blessing to work for the students, to work for teachers, and I hope you'll give me another 4 years. Thank you.
Teresa.
My passion is education. I gave my life to the school district for 38 years, and I've lived every position in the school, and spent a lot of time talking to our custodians and our cafeteria workers, along with our students and our teachers. I feel like I know the system, and I've implemented school board policy for all those years, so I think I would be a good candidate to make policy. And I really understand budget. We have a $320 million budget in the district, but I brought in $8.5 million working with our local legislators. And I think that we need to bring more money from the state into the county, and I think there has to be a high level of advocacy going on up in Tallahassee for Monroe County schools, and I would like to continue doing that, so I hope I can get your vote on August the 18th, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Next up, School Board District 5. While they're swapping, another rule we've instituted over the years, and we haven't come up with it yet, hopefully won't tonight, but if in your answer you call out your opponent by name, we let the opponent, you're effectively giving the opponent extra time to respond. And we've had times when we've gone back and forth 3-4 times on that, so it's entertaining, but it's not really productive. So you can talk about ideas, but just let's not talk about people. And we'll see how it all goes. All right, so we are going to lead off with Mandy after they introduce themselves. So Shalene, you want to introduce yourself first?
Hi, my name is Shalene Shaw. I've lived in Monroe County and Key Largo for almost 22 years. I'm a mom of 3, grandmother of 7. 4 of my grandchildren have been educated in Monroe County. 1 still is being educated, so I do have a vested interest. I've owned 3 businesses, sold 2. I'm going to hang on to 1, and I just want to make a difference in children's lives and support them and their families.
All right. Sue, a little.
Hi, I'm Sue Altansky. I am a public education advocate and the current Monroe County School Board member for District 5.
Okay. Mandy? And remember, everybody look at the camera as much as you can. Mandy.
Okay. I'm trying to see where it is.
Shalene, did I say that? Shalene, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Shalene, okay. I was looking at your website this afternoon, and you say that your business and entrepreneurial experience, as well as fiscal conservatism, will bring accountability to the school board that is desperately needed. What's an example of a lack of accountability financially for the current school board?
For financially or otherwise?
But accountability, either one. You said, I think you were thinking about desperately in need of accountability financially.
Okay, so it's really 2-part. I believe that we need to allow the school board's budget to be to have an audit. I don't know when the last time they had an audit, but I've spoken with Ngolia and suggested that he come and audit not only our school board but our county. And for the financial accountability, I think we've had some missteps on some capital projects, and there are 2 other counties that are similar to us in size and same number of kids, and they are paying their teachers a lot more, and their budget is lower than ours, and our budget's higher, and they pay, and our teachers aren't getting paid as well as those other 2 counties. So I think we could do better taking care of our teachers. I would never cut anything out of the budget for education. I'd like to see as much or more go, if we find any fluff, to push that toward education for the kids.
Okay.
Richard?
This is for Ms. Shaw. In the Key West Weekly of, July 9th, I guess, you were quoted as, "We can do better as a school board." How would you do better?
I believe we can do better if we have more cooperation. There are 5 school board members that sit on the board, and from what I've witnessed going to the school board meetings and what I've read, there's a lot that could be better in that. I just don't see a lot of people having the input in what's happening with the capital projects, and I don't want to speak ill of one of the board members that's just stepped down, but I think that if I got on the school board and 2 other members were on there, that we could have a very cooperative spirit and get some things done.
John?
So the national dropout rate in high school is 5%. Here in Monroe County School District, it's 8%, right around 8%. It's above the national average. What do we do to keep kids in school and graduate?
Is this for Sue? Yeah, for both. Okay. Sue first, and then Shalene.
I have never heard those statistics, so our graduation rate has increased, and last year it increased by a significant amount. We're still below the state average, and it is a concern. We have hired or taken counselors and made them graduation coaches. So that's the main reason that students don't graduate. It has to do with the assessments that they can't pass, although some probably don't feel value to the oh, I'm supposed to be looking up there, may not understand the value of a high school diploma, and we need to work on that. But we have counselors that are assigned to the students that are at risk of not graduating and work with them closely. And this year we had a one team, one goal, where the administrators who had teaching credentials agreed to go into the schools and to do small group tutoring with the kids who all they were missing was the state test score that they needed. So, and we haven't gotten the final results on that, but I'm told that was very successful in getting more kids over the graduation line. So I expect that this year's graduation rates will be higher than last year's, which were higher than the year before.
Okay. And John, you wanted Shalene to answer the same question?
Could you repeat the question, please?
The graduation rate in Monroe County School District is 91.9%. You have 8% dropouts. The national rate is 5%, so you're above the national rate. What do we do to keep kids in school and help them graduate?
Well, first we have to find out why they're dropping out. So why don't we ask the kids and do an exit, have them fill out an exit form and ask them why they're dropping out.
All right, this is for Sue. This topic came up when the last two gentlemen were here, also running for school board, and we were talking about, or gentleman and lady. I got up early this morning, folks.
I'd rather have them yell at you than me.
And it has to do with iPads in the classroom. Students have their heads in the screens all the time, even while not in school, and now they've got them in all day while they are in school. Is that really as effective as it was meant to be, or is it time we get back to pencils and paper?
Wait, did you answer, say iPads? Okay. I think you're just talking about digital devices. We don't use iPads.
Well, digital devices overall and iPads specifically in the schools.
I get it. This is the thing that I hear from parents the most. They want their kids to be doing more authentic education, less time on screens, and less time with screen programs, and I think the screens can be very, very distracting. I think they're a distracting way to do homework when homework is assigned, and there is all of the problems with having your AI chatbot answering your math question for you, so you get a perfect score on your homework, but you never actually learn to do the math. The primary reason that there is focus on the screens really is because the state about 4 or 5 years ago, in my early advocacy work, we advocated for reducing the testing and to going back to paper and pencil testing, and that was successful. And then when the current governor came in, he instituted progress monitoring testing, and that's all done on screens. And so we're going to need to, the kids need then the skills to be able on the screens, and it becomes, and since the accountability system bases us on these test scores, there's going to need to be work at the top, but I do think the kids need real books to read, and they need paper and pencil homework, and if you want to solve the problem of AI, then make the kids write their essays in front of you with a binder full of paper.
Shalyn Shaw, you call yourself a common sense Christian conservative, and on your website, that's where that's from.
Ma'am.
And you said that you wanted to bring those values to the school board to ensure decision-making reflects our community's principles.
Yes, ma'am.
What are those principles, and how does that reflect your view of the sort of the separation of church and state and public schools?
So the common sense conservative Judeo-Christian principles that I refer to, that I would bring to that seat, would be the things that our nation was founded upon by our founding fathers, and that's integrity, honesty, service to others before self.
So not specific to Christianity.
Well, no, it wouldn't be specific to Christianity, but those values, which are integrity, honesty, service to others before self.
So we're good, yeah. Rick, and we need to ask Sue a couple of questions. We're getting a little out of balance. That's okay.
A follow-up to that same question. Aren't those same qualities, kindness, integrity, and honesty, espoused by Hinduism and Buddhism and by Judaism?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Some of those values can be found in other religions. I'm not in there. I'm not saying that I'm going to go sit in that seat and proselytize or convert anyone's children. Just good qualities to the seat, and bring civics back to where kids are learning about our country and patriotism and those values. Only good values, and they're not really particular to any religion. It's just that it happens to be what I know, for those good qualities that come from my religion, my faith.
John, we need to direct some to Sue.
Sue, hi, Sue.
Yeah.
My question to you is, enrollment in public schools in Monroe County is down 6% over the last 3 years. That's 430 less students. Why is enrollment down? And does it matter, or is it just what it is?
Well, it is what it is, and it matters. This year, for the first time, when they reported on the October counts at the state level, there were 67,000 students missing in our public schools. This is a problem across all districts and across all school types. There were fewer kids in charter schools. There were fewer kids than expected on the vouchers. There were fewer families homeschooling, and there were fewer kids in public school. And it should bother us all, because Florida's economy is based on growth. And this is the first signal that families are not growing. Some of that is that there is been a constant decline in birth rate, but it particularly declined during COVID. So kindergarten classes across the state are much smaller than they used to be. We also, when the state presented to the education boards, they suggested that something, they called it like the chill of the current immigration policies, may have something to do with it. And we know that 3 years ago we had 600 new English language learners, and this year we had 0. So this is a problem of the declining enrollment is a problem because enrollment affects our budget, but it's also something that the whole state is dealing with. I think that was my bell.
Who would you like me to address this to? Scorekeeper?
Sue is still lacking.
Okay.
You could both do it, and then we're
All right.
yeah.
We're really proud this year of our school district getting the A rating, and all the schools that moved up this year that were graded so well. But after talking to the superintendent last week, he mentioned the fact that they did well in some classes, but not others. Math and science was the problem. What needs to be done to bring those scores up like ELA came up?
I'm sorry, was that addressed to me? Because Sheldon
Yes.
was asking me a question.
Both. Sheldon was talking to you, but it was also addressed to you. So, yeah.
We have not, as a board, reviewed all the scores yet. But yes, math and science were not nearly as, math and science scores were not nearly as successful as reading. And I'm not particularly surprised by that, because the last 3 years we've gone in on the science of reading, and we've really expressed phonics, and I think we're seeing the results of that. I am concerned about math, not just at the younger ages, but we had, like, in the top 10 results of the districts for algebra, and maybe in the bottom 20 results for geometry. And I don't understand how that happens. And you know, we advance a lot of kids into algebra in middle school, but not as many kids go on to do calculus in high school and calculus is the thing that opens you for STEM careers. So there are a lot of questions I have about the progression. Now, the superintendent has instituted a new advanced math track that should take more kids and move them ahead when they're able to do so. The question about science, those tests are a 5th grade test at the end of elementary school and an 8th grade test at the end of 8th grade, and then the biology test in high school. And I don't know where, like which specifically was low, but they're cumulative tests in the lower grades, and so it's harder to pinpoint, I think, specifically what's happening. But, you know, the whole reason to do testing is not to get a school grade, but it is to find out where your strengths and weaknesses are and keep doing the things that are your strengths and address your weaknesses.
Mandy, last question, and then we'll do closing statements.
Sue, what is your biggest concern with regard to state changes to property taxes? And also, how did the school district do on its most recent financial audit?
Our most recent financial audit.
Yeah, and how often have you had those?
We have annual audits, and they've been clean for the last 10 years. It's a tremendous credit. It has been a focus of the school board because obviously we had, before I moved here, we had. Yeah, they all do. What was the other part of the question?
What's your biggest concern about budgets and financials with potential changes to the state property tax?
I will be honest with you, I'm usually a deep diver into everything legislative, but this year I was campaigning and I have not read the final. I did not really follow that week, but my understanding is that the schools have been carved out at this point. But the concern for me is not how the amendment itself affects schools, but how the amendment affects the supports that kids have in the community, libraries, health clinics, public health, that sort of thing. And then on top of that, the schools will become a larger portion of the tax bill, and I worry that that will cause problems down the road. As people say, why are we, it's the biggest part of our tax bill, why are we spending that much on kids?
Interesting. Thank you. All right, closing questions. Sue, you're the incumbent. You go first, then Shalene. So a minute or less.
Oh, yeah, I'm Sue Altansky. I'm a public education advocate. Well before I joined the school board, with the recently imposed term limits, I have 4 more years, and I hope you'll give me the chance to earn your vote. Our school district is on a great positive trajectory. Graduation rates are up, absenteeism is down, we have more field trips, more arts, more advanced placement courses and other academic acceleration courses and more career and technical programs. We're moving in a very, very positive direction, and I would like to keep us moving there. Thank you.
Shalene.
My name is Shalene Shaw, and I have not sat on the school board before, but that doesn't mean that I don't have the ability to sit on a board. I certainly have the education and the experience in the private sector to make board decisions, and I've had children. I've been teaching Boy Scouts, Sunday school for 30 years, and I taught as adjunct faculty at my local university, educating teachers, by the way. So I have experience, I just don't have public school experience. I have college experience working with students and teaching. So I'd like the opportunity to serve, sit on the school board for a term or until we can get some things done. I believe personally that 2 terms is plenty for anybody that sits in office. So I agree with Darren Horan on pretty much everything that he said, and we need to get back to an Americana education, reading, writing, math, and take the computer screens out, put the vice principals and the principals in the hallways on rolling carts so they can support the teachers in the classroom. Teachers shouldn't be paying out of their pocket for school supplies. We should be feeding children. I have big plans, and I'd like the opportunity to work for you on the school board.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, next up, County Commission, District 2. And Sheldon, I'm doing this because the photographer asked me to. Yes, we're back to Rick. Okay. Thank you, Vanna. And we're almost back on track for time, so. Yeah. Good order, well. And after this race, we'll have a brief admission, 15 minutes, but don't stay out there the whole 15
Right now, I
minutes.
see why everyone was squinting.
Yes.
Can you all turn
But
some of
we
these
want to
lights
see
out?
you. Yes. All right, introduce yourselves, please. Michelle, you can start.
Hi, I'm Michelle Lincoln. I am currently the mayor of Monroe County, and I'm county commissioner for District 2.
George?
Yeah, my name's George Lopez, and I basically have spent 22 years in the military, and I've got experience in running international business, and I'm running for District 2. That's pretty much all I have to say for you.
Cool, thanks. Let's get right into the questions. Richard?
Mr. Lopez, how much has been spent by you or on your behalf on those attack ads that we've all been subjected to?
What attack ad in particular are you referring to?
The one that indicates that your opponent is not liberal enough for you or not conservative enough for you.
Excuse me, I didn't put that ad. That was run by a PAC,
Well,
and I had nothing to do with that.
I understand, but
Okay, well.
my question is, how much has been spent by that PAC?
I have no idea. You'd have to ask the person that runs that PC, sir.
You don't know?
No, I do not, sir.
Oh, okay.
Well, he answered your question.
Thank you, sir.
All right. John?
Yes, I have a question for, let's see, who do I want to ask? Michelle.
My favorite book is Where Are You, God?
No
My name's
ad-libbing,
Margaret.
please. Yeah.
That was not my question. My question is we have a very busy airport that the county operates and is in control of. And it's got to be one of the busiest airports I've ever seen as far as per capita. And the numbers are growing. It's a success story, and I like the way it's well-funded and privately funded, basically by self-funded, I guess is the right word. My question is, why did the airport, the county incur $360,000 worth of overtime expenses in 2025, and 70% of that came from the airport? That's a lot of overtime for 1 year. And one airport manager made $90,000 in overtime money. His salary is $160,000, and he made $90,000 in overtime. I want to know what's going on at the airport and who's managing the money over there.
That's a very good question, and I'm glad you asked it, because that was a lot of overtime, and it was all approved by the administrator, but that doesn't answer your question. During the time that overtime occurred was when we were doing construction, major construction on an airport, when there was still flights coming in and out every single solitary day. I don't know if you've watched national news where wings of airplanes have been clipped by truck drivers, and there's been accidents that occur, and accidents occur on construction sites. There hasn't been one single accident that occurred on that airport. But to continue to answer your question, FAA has very specific rules on runways and jetways and who can be on a runway and who cannot be on a runway, and you have to be qualified. And all that overtime was because they lost an employee who was trained and qualified to be on the runway when flights come in all the way until 11 o'clock in the evening, and then back at 7 in the morning when flights start. But the planes are there earlier. They're getting all lined up. So there was a lot of moving parts, not just with the airplanes, but also with the tourists coming in and out, with construction, and the 3 people who incurred all of that overtime were all qualified to be on that runway and were approved by the administrator. When we looked at it afterwards, the overtime was less money than it would have been if we hired other people to do that job. So it actually saved money. Final thought on that is it wasn't taxpayers' money, it is airport enterprise funds that comes from the price of the ticket. Okay, thank you.
All right, this is for George.
Yes,
the
sir.
property tax issue that's going before voters in November. Number one, where do you stand on that? And number two, if it occurs, where do you think we can make up the money that we're likely to lose here in the county?
Well, to be perfectly frank, I support Governor DeSantis's tax plan, the new one and the old one. Meaningful tax. Every hardworking Monroe County full-time resident here should get homestead relief, and they can do it. There's $168 million worth of money that they got in tax receipts. You're talking about 8,980 homes of 45,256 full-time homesteaded properties. There's 8,980. That's roughly out of the $168 million which they recovered in tax receipts. That's only $33 million, and they can afford it. By tightening their belts a little bit and reallocating the bed and tax from the TDC. It can be done. And this threat of losing county services, that's a lie. I'm sorry. You're only being taxed or getting a benefit on the ad valorem, and that's the assessed value of your property. All the essential services are still going to be there. So anybody that tells you that, it's not telling you the truth. Okay? And I basically think the people of this county, the people of this county deserve that. I support it 100%. Governor DeSantis is right on this. And that's where we should be going.
Thank you, George.
My turn?
Mandy. Yep.
I'm going to ask the same question, but to Commissioner Lincoln on your concerns and/or support or opposition to the governor's property tax plan.
So, as a county commissioner, I have supported property tax relief the entire time I've been a commissioner. We have the lowest millage rate in the state of Florida. This year, as well as in past years, our commissioners go and lobby Tallahassee asking for an additional homestead relief for any person who rents their house long-term to people who work here in our county, which would help our workforce housing situation. I think that our county does an excellent job with managing our funds and balancing that with the needs of our community. And truly, I took an oath of office to support the Constitution of the state of Florida. And whatever the taxpayers, whatever the registered voters vote for is what I will uphold.
Thank you, Michelle. Richard.
Mr. Lopez, you have never served in any county or city government, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
But you have been involved in management of a business, have you not?
If we're talking about experience, I give results. And I can tell you this.
No, I'm curious as to what business you have been associated with.
Well, I've worked with the federal government for 22 plus years, so I know how the federal government and governments work. With regards to international business, I run a successful international business, very complex. I deal with foreign countries. I know all the, not the assets, but all the regulations and rules, and I deal with them on a daily basis. I sell manufactured, I'm a U.S. manufacturer's rep, and I sell to Central South America and the Caribbean, and I deal with foreign governments all the time, and I know how the government works.
Thank you, George.
Well, My question was, what business particularly are you involved in?
Okay,
I told you.
we got there.
I'm a U.S. manufacturer's rep of utility products overseas.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's fine. John?
Hang on a sec.
And we pick on the kids for having screens. And,
Right, I got questions everywhere. People are texting me questions. Yeah, I know. Is the county reallocating the TDC tax? Should that go to TDC?
who's this for?
I think it's for me.
George.
Okay, George, go ahead.
They collected $472 million last year, a pure profit. 103 is their annual operating budget. What happened to the other $300 million? And with regards to the tax, if we're talking about the tax, is that what we're talking about? Well, my opponent is the president of the FAC, the Florida Association of Counties, and they lobby directly against the property relief for the homesteaded properties in Monroe. I mean, it's disingenuous what she says. On top of that, you know, they lobby against it. In one instance, she's basically telling you she swore an oath to the Constitution. Well, what happened to the residents of Monroe County where you're basically voting against them to basically not give property relief, and you're telling them and you're taking money out of their pocketbooks by not giving them the relief? It's disingenuous, self-serving.
Okay, but George, this is one of those, you've called her out, so
I
she
know
gets
I
to
did.
respond. All right.
So I am the immediate past president of the Florida Association of Counties. I'm the very first county commissioner in Monroe County in the 95 history of the Florida Association of Counties to be a president. I was voted in by all the county commissioners from 67 counties. When I wear that hat, the Florida Association of Counties' first goal is home rule. That's the same goal we have in our county. Things are better served when it's home rule, and that is what the role of the Florida Association of Counties is all about. The three pillars are advocacy, education, and collaboration.
Thank you, Michelle.
We've heard a lot about traffic control. There's been all sorts of studies done about it. There's been meetings galore. What really is there that can be done for traffic control? And if I could get a short answer from both of you on that, please.
You do.
Because I have to get up early in the morning.
Who would you like to go first?
George, you go first.
Okay, the rules change yearly. Okay, and what I mean by that is the last time Monroe County passed a LOS, level of service study, was 2016. In 2019, they failed. They got a passing grade of D. Well, it wasn't a passing grade. It was 44.7 miles, and they shifted the goalpost so that they could get the passing grade. In 2021, same thing. 2023, the same thing. 2025, same thing, they failed. And in 2026, what you could do is bring in an independent group, make it transparent to every Monroe County citizen over there so that they have input into the process instead of making the rules up as you go along. It's changed 5 different times. And 060-2026, they've basically rigged the whole game now so that they never fail again. Okay? And that just means more ROGOs, more overdevelopment, and they can't get it right by doing it the legal way. They're doing it off peak time, which was the last change. Okay? Peak time is when there's tourists here in the winter and the roads are congested, not in the middle of the summer. And that's where I stand on that. You could do it independently by bringing in an independent group, paying for it, and having them do it for you. That's how you do it.
Michelle, same question.
Same question
Yeah.
to me. Would you please repeat it so I'm making sure I'm answering it absolutely
I
correctly?
forgot what it was.
I think you were like, how can we alleviate the traffic on the road and what are we doing? Thank you.
What is the
Okay.
ultimate answer? Can
Okay.
someone think outside the box
Yes.
and do something that works?
Absolutely, right. So we do have an organization that is made up of all of the municipalities, the Florida Department of Transportation, and we have been working, and I said that in the municipalities, on a checklist of the items that we would like Florida Department of Transportation to implement, including and not limited to collaborating the timing of all of the traffic signals up and down the Keys. So if there's a bottleneck in one area, it is relieved in the other area. Also, we've been working diligently on that center lane on US 1 Highway, where some people call it the suicide lane, to put in wherever there's a spot in that lane to do a right turn or a left turn. And those are the top two. Also, we're working on more pedestrian-friendly pathways for our bicyclists and our walkers to also use. I will say that we do conduct a level of service, and it is conducted at the highest peak of tourism, and it's being conducted right now, and we will honor those studies as well. Oh, and one other thing we're working on that I'm very excited about is thinking outside of the box. A go fast ferry from Miami to Key West, and another one that would go in between the islands just to get people from one key to another so that they don't have to be on the highway. The other thing we're doing is we're going to open up commercial service at the Marathon
Michelle.
Airport.
Sheldon says it's time. So
Okay.
Don't blame me, blame Sheldon.
Okay.
All right,
you,
last
Sheldon.
question. Manny Miles.
District 2 is long and skinny. Like it goes from what, Big Coppet to the Gulf Side of Marathon, is that right? Will both of you answer your position on the commercial driver's license training center at the former Big Pine Road Prison? And yeah,
I'll start.
Okay. Try to keep things somewhat concise so we can get you a good time for closing. Yeah.
That property is owned by the state of Florida, and the College of the Florida Keys is ran by the state of Florida. And therefore, the college answers to the state of Florida, not to the county. In fact, any building that would happen on there will not even require a permit from our county. With that said, the college was required to conduct a biological opinion on that property. And then they were going to ask our administrator to sign off on it for the grants to be released. Our administrator will not sign off on it because the biological opinion that needs to be done on that property is more advanced than what our staff is qualified to do. So we told the college that they have to have that biological opinion done by a higher power than what Monroe County can do. I have had meetings with the community about the college and about the CDL school to let them know that this is where we are, that our county is not in the position to be able to approve that biological assessment.
Thank you, Michelle. George, CDL school.
Okay, the ITP, for anybody that doesn't know, that's the incidental transit permit, expired on June 30th.
It doesn't have to.
On the Board of County Commissioners' watch. 8 years. Yes, it is.
No, that's a different question.
It mandates the key deer. Don't interrupt, please. Thank you. Okay, it wasn't a surprise. It took 8 years. 8 years in office and more than enough time to renew all the permits, the ITP, the HCP, and basically there should be no CDL, no commercial on federal land. I don't know what the issue or what's not understood. A CDL does not belong anywhere near anywhere near a protected refuge where there's key deer. It doesn't. It just does not belong there. And I would oppose any commercial use on there as a commissioner. I would scrutinize it. I would get the studies. With regards to the biological studies, it was from 2008. Okay? That's like using a chart that's 16 years old to go on the water. You're going to run into a coral head. Okay? And that's basically why it wasn't used. Okay? So let's talk about that. Okay? You got to have everything up to date. There's been no assessment. There's been no deer count. There's been nothing with regards to fish and wildlife. And it has to be done. But there should not be a commercial driving school, especially a CDL in the middle of a residence.
Time, George.
Okay.
Okay, well, he did call you on it, but you did interrupt, so I'm just going to wash him out. We're going to go to closing statements. You're going to go first, and George, you're going to go second. let's talk about ideas. Please don't mention each other so we can clean out. We'll just have a nice, clean closing statement about yourselves. So, Michelle, you go first.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle Lincoln. You all know me. I'm your neighbor. I am intertwined in this community, whether at Rotary, whether at chamber meetings, whether at your child's baseball field. I am open always to what you all have to say, what the needs of the community are. I advocate every single day for the betterment of our community. I want this place to be good for my daughter Mallory and her friend Casey and their children so that the next generation can grow up here. I know how to collaborate, I know how to work with others, and I have absolutely enjoyed serving as your county commission. I am endorsed by the Sheriff Ramsey, by Senator Ana Maria Rodriguez, by the South Florida Police Benevolent Association, by the Professional Firefighters of Marathon and Monroe County, by the Teamsters. I'm endorsed by the International Brotherhood of Electric Workers, and I'm endorsed by Ocean Reef PAC. I need your endorsement. I want to continue working for you, and I ask that you vote for me so that we can continue to make this the best place to live, work, and raise a family.
Thank you, Michelle. George?
I'd like to say my name is George Lopez. I think change is needed. Change is needed in the BOCC. And basically, I'm endorsed by Christian Family Coalitions, Private Saving Paradise, Hispanics for George Lopez, okay? And honestly, all I'm going to say about Ocean Reef is their practice is to endorse incumbents. That's all I'll leave it. Okay? With regards to, I want to make this a better place. I want to make it more affordable. It's not affordable right now. All that's happened now is your taxes have gone up, your insurance rates have gone up, and we need a change. And I can bring that change. I don't plan on, doing anything different than trying to bring change to make it a better place, more affordable, more transparent. And I will tell you this, I will be accountable to anything I do. I won't give you an answer in one room and give you another answer in another room. And I'm not saying that about anybody, but that's just in general. And I want you to know that, I want to be your commissioner for District 2, and, I'd be honored and humbled to get your vote. And that's who I am. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you.
Thank you, George. Your county commission candidates. All right, we have a brief 15-minute, actually 11-minute intermission. Do the best you can.